Huge pylons are coming down thick and fast in Tshwane. The pylons carry high voltage power lines. Last Sunday, 7 collapsed on the N4 highway in Pretoria, leading to mass outages. And then yesterday, Eskom confirming that 5 more pylons collapsed this week in Hammanskraal due to theft and vandalism. We're now joined by the Tshwane MMC for Utilities and Regional Operations. That's Themba Fosi. MMC, thank you for being with us. Eskom's statement suggests that there are no injuries, and it also says about this latest incident on the R101 that power supply has not been affected to its customers. I mean, how is that possible?
Okay, what happens normally is that we've got a ring environment where power is being fed. When it is directly fed from the substation to the residents, there is normally an alternative way of supplying power to the residents. So in this instance is that residents were backfed and they're up and running. However, installation of and reinstatement of the pylons is ongoing.
All right, so a plan has been made. Eskom has gone up to stage 6 today, and it says specifically it's worried about theft affecting pylons. Has Eskom given you any insight? I mean, is this one of the reasons why we're in stage 6 right now?
Look, it is a problem. It is a prevalent problem around the city and around the country. Vandalism of municipal infrastructure, even to a great extent government infrastructure, is a problem. That's why we've partnered with SABC, TMPD and private sector to make sure that we safeguard our infrastructure. With load shedding, it's actually not even helping. It's creating a catastrophe. 6 hours of outage, it is a possibility of having cable theft and perhaps vandalism of our substation. So there's quite a lot that still needs to be done without leaving load shedding out. One being that the residents need to be taking advantage of the fact that they know that our infrastructure has been damaged. Then they need to be responsible for it. They need to make sure that during load shedding they guard the infrastructure, they guard their substations, they guard their cables, including private sector and perhaps business.
So let me just clarify what you're saying, that the private sector and individuals should go and keep an eye on the pylons. Does that mean because you don't have enough city officials and there's not enough SABC officials to do the job, basically?
It is not humanly possible to guard each and every meter of this cable. It would need everybody to be alert and make sure that if you see people in the substation or anywhere it is infrastructure, you need to make sure that the officials from Eskom or our own City of Tshwane officials. Nobody should be nearby who is not allowed or competent to work on those infrastructure. With the metal industry now coming and being booming with people stealing copper, people stealing metal for scrap metals. That industry alone is booming. I think we need to go to an extent of regulating that industry and make sure that you don't see people carrying metal going up and about and copper, because this clearly shows that it comes from our own infrastructure or even to a great extent the government infrastructure. All
right, and there's already been an effort to stop exports, but how quickly do you respond? Because you're saying that you can't man all these pylons, well, you can't keep an eye on all the pylons, so it's up to the community. But in the first instance, when those first 7 came down, residents were saying we had raised the alarm a long time ago. We saw that these pylons were being stripped.
No, what happened, the previous complaint was last year. And then we've got proper documentation to show that it was repaired and reinstated to its normality. What happened now is something totally different from what is on there. The second part is that it is not even the very same pylons that we're talking about currently that fell on the N4. These are something totally different. Remember, there's one that actually went to 2 days ago in Mamelodi, which was also vandalized, but it was still intact. So I managed to urgently call the city officials to come and tie it up again and perhaps give it strength. the issue of cable theft and steal is sporadic across the country. So we need to be vigilant and make sure that everywhere you see that people are not officials of the city or officials from Eskom, we need to call the police or call the TMPD to be able to make an arrest.
Yeah. To what extent have the political ructions that we've seen in Tshwane for a very long time enabled this to happen? I don't want to politicize this. I would clearly, because there's current investigations that are going ahead, I would rather allow the investigations to give us a light and guideline as to what happened and what was the cause of the actual collapse of those seven pylons. I can't now say it is a political instability in the city or there's sabotage or something like that. Yeah. Once we receive the actual investigation, only then can we take a position and say it is because of this, and then how do we proceed? Okay, but what I'm trying to get at is you say that the city is going to be very responsive. If I'm a resident, I can call you up and say somebody is vandalizing the pylon, come quickly. For months, has that been the case? Has there been responsiveness that could have prevented what we're seeing right now, or not because of the political ructions?
No. Remember, when you see something that is untoward, especially onto our infrastructure, you don't call a politician. You call the TMPD, you call law enforcement. Those are the people who are supposed to be responding to issues of theft or anything that is relating to crime. I don't think it's got anything to do with politics. But I can gladly tell you that on all instances where we were notified that there's issue of vandalism, there's issue of theft, we responded via the TMPD, we responded via the SAPS, and obviously CPF structures that are in the communities.
All right, thank you for your time. It sounds like a serious situation. Eskom says this is unabating criminal practice. And there we heard from Themba Fosi, Tshwane MMC for Utilities and Regional Operations, saying that they can't be under every pylon in Tshwane. People have to be vigilant. Companies and individuals have to keep a lookout.